Emperor Horus slammed his fist on the ornate desk, sending a reverberating thud through the opulent chambers, high atop the citadel on Altair Prime. His most senior advisors and strategists stood rigidly at attention before him, their faces etched with concern and fear. Horus glared at the holographic display suspended above the desk surface, struggling to comprehend the impossibility projected before his eyes. A clandestine human armada, far vaster and more technologically advanced than the mightiest fleets of the Nigean Galactic Empire. Undetected for decades as the cunning Admiral Isaac Hill siphoned resources to build this juggernaut in the shadows. Ships boasting energy shields impervious to the Empire's most powerful weapons. Continents vaporized in an instant. Human vessels crossing vast expanses in the blink of an eye. Horus felt the very foundations of his throne tremble as the enormity of this existential threat crashed over him like a tidal wave. He barked orders at his diplomats to establish contact with the human admiral, desperately seeking to gauge their intentions, to stave off total annihilation through concessions and appeasement. But Hill merely taunted them with tantalizing hints of the human fleet's true power. Rampant paranoia swept through the Nigean leadership as intercepted communiques portended an imminent, unstoppable offensive. With his empire hurtling towards the brink of ruin, Horus steeled himself to grovel before his former subjects. A delegation headed by his own brother raced to throw themselves at the humans' feet, to beg for mercy. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance as the Nigean emissaries prepared to give the humans anything to avoid confronting a colossus they could never hope to defeat. The stage was set for a reckoning that would echo through the ages. As the sleek Nigean diplomatic shuttle glided into the cavernous hangar bay of the HMS Indomitable, Prince Jarek gazed through the viewport at the imposing human dreadnought. The vessel dwarfed even the mightiest warships in the Imperial fleet, its gleaming hull overflowing with advanced weaponry that could render entire worlds uninhabitable. Jarek swallowed hard, his throat suddenly dry as the unforgiving vacuum of space. The shuttle settled onto the deck with a soft thud, and the airlock hissed open. Ambassador Alara Varric strode forward, her bearing regal and her expression inscrutable. She greeted the Nigean delegation with cool professionalism, her voice carrying an undercurrent of steel. "Prince Jarek, welcome aboard the Indomitable. Please, follow me to the negotiation chambers." As they navigated the labyrinthine corridors of the massive ship, Jarek couldn't help but marvel at the advanced technology on display. Holographic interfaces, highly efficient energy systems. It was abundantly clear that the humans had surpassed the Nigeans in every conceivable way. The negotiations began in earnest, with Varric laying out humanity's demands in no uncertain terms. Jarek listened, his heart sinking with each word. Withdrawal from key systems, draconian limitations on the Imperial military. It was complete capitulation. Yet what choice did he have? To refuse would mean the utter annihilation of the Nigean people. Just as he was about to reluctantly agree to the terms, an urgent message from Emperor Horus flashed across his datapad. General Calgath's unauthorized attack on New Parthia had been met with swift and brutal retaliation from the human fleet. The Nigean force had been obliterated in mere moments, their ships reduced to expanding clouds of irradiated debris. Varric fixed Jarek with a piercing stare, her voice as sharp as a blade's edge. "It seems, Prince Jarek, that some within your empire have not yet grasped the gravity of your situation. Let this serve as a final warning. Any further acts of aggression will be met with force beyond your comprehension." Jarek nodded grimly, his shoulders slumping under the weight of defeat. He knew that there could be no more defiance, no more resistance. The Nigean Empire, once the uncontested master of the galaxy, would now be forever subservient to its former human subjects. As the amended terms of the treaty were presented, including the establishment of human military bases in Nigean space and strict monitoring of Imperial compliance, Jarek signed with a heavy heart. The pen felt like a dagger in his hand, each stroke carving away another piece of Nigean pride and autonomy. With the negotiations concluded, Varric escorted the subdued Nigean delegation back to their shuttle. As the airlock sealed behind them, Jarek couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of a new era, one in which the Nigean people would be forced to navigate the stars as vassals rather than conquerors. The empire his ancestors had built over centuries had crumbled in a matter of days, and the future stretched before him like an uncertain and treacherous path. The Nagian diplomatic shuttle docked at the Imperial Palace on Altair Prime, its gleaming hull a stark contrast to the somber atmosphere that permeated the once proud capital. Prince Jarek disembarked, his face etched with the weight of defeat. Emperor Horus awaited him in the throne room, surrounded by a coterie of anxious advisors. "It is done, brother," Jarek said, his voice barely above a whisper. "We are now vassals of the human empire." Horus's face contorted with a mixture of rage and despair. He pounded his fist against the arm of his throne, the sound echoing through the cavernous chamber. How could this happen? How did we not see it coming? As if in answer to his question, a holographic display flickered to life, showing footage of the devastating human attack on New Parthia. The assembled Nigians watched in stunned silence as their fleet was reduced to atoms in a matter of seconds. "General Kalgath's unauthorized assault has cost us dearly," Jarek explained. "The humans made it clear that any further acts of aggression will be met with overwhelming force." Horus's eyes narrowed. "Kalgath, that fool!" He turned to his chief of staff. "Have him arrested immediately. We cannot afford any more reckless actions." As the order was carried out, the Emperor's gaze returned to the holographic display, now showing a map of Nigian space dotted with newly established human military bases. "So this is to be our future," he muttered. "Watched, controlled, subservient." Meanwhile, light years away on Earth, the United Nations Security Council convened in an emergency session. The chamber buzzed with tension as delegates from around the world grappled with humanity's newfound galactic dominance. Secretary General Marcus Delaney stood at the podium, his weathered face grave. "We stand at a crossroads," he began. "Our species has achieved what was once thought impossible, superiority over the Nigian Empire. But with this power comes great responsibility. We must decide how to wield it." U.S. Ambassador James Hawkins leapt to his feet, his voice booming through the chamber. "We have a unique opportunity to reshape the galaxy in our image. We must seize it with both hands." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly, but Delaney held up a hand for silence. "And what of the consequences, Ambassador? What of the resentment and fear we may sow among other species?" As the debate raged on Earth, discontent stirred within the Nigian Empire. In a secluded garden of the Imperial Palace, Princess Zyra huddled with a group of young nobles, their faces flushed with anger and perseverance. "We cannot accept this humiliation," Zyra hissed, her emerald eyes flashing. "Our people have ruled the stars for centuries. We will not become slaves to the humans." One of her companions, a young officer named Tarek, leaned in close. "What can we do, Your Highness? The humans' power is beyond anything we've ever seen." Zyra's lips curled into a sly smile. "We are not alone in our fear of human domination. The Cormians, the Elinari, they too have reason to resist. We must reach out, forge alliances in secret." As Zyra and her cohorts plotted rebellion, Admiral Isaac Hill stood on the bridge of the HMS Indomitable, surveying the vast expanse of space before him. A junior officer approached, datapad in hand. "Sir, we've detected an unknown vessel approaching from the galactic rim. It's not matching any known configurations in our database." Hill's eyes narrowed. "Hail them!" Moments later, the viewscreen flickered to life, revealing a being of otherworldly beauty and grace. "Greetings, humans," the alien said, its voice melodious and ethereal. "I am Ambassador Zarakyle of the Zephyrian Conclave. We request an audience with your leaders and those of the Nigian Empire. There is a matter of grave importance we must discuss, one that may alter the course of galactic history once again." Ambassador Zarakyle's arrival sent shockwaves through the halls of power on Earth. Within hours, she stood before Secretary General Marcus Delaney in a secure conference room at UN headquarters. Her iridescent skin shimmered under the harsh fluorescent lights as she spoke, her voice carrying an otherworldly resonance. "Secretary General, we've observed humanity's ascension with great interest," Kale said, her multifaceted eyes fixed on Delaney. "But we fear you may be poised to repeat the cycle of oppression that has plagued our galaxy for millennia. Delaney leaned forward, his brow furrowed. What do you mean, Ambassador? Kale produced a small device, projecting a holographic star map. There exists a weapon of unimaginable power, hidden in an unexplored region of space. It has the capacity to render entire worlds uninhabitable. The color drained from Delaney's face as he processed the implications. And you're telling us this because we urge you to work with us to secure this weapon before it falls into the wrong hands, Kyle replied. The consequences of its misuse would be catastrophic for all species. Delaney's fingers drummed against the polished wood of the conference table. I'll need to consult with our global leadership immediately. Within hours, world leaders convened via secure holographic link. The chamber crackled with tension as Delaney relayed the Zephyrian's warning. U.S. President Owen Harris's hologram paced back and forth. This weapon could guarantee human dominance for generations. We must secure it at all costs. Russian Premier Yuri Kozlov nodded in agreement, his bushy eyebrows knitted together. For once, I concur with our American friends. Such power cannot be left to chance. Chinese Chairman Zhou Liang's avatar raised a hand in protest. And risk destabilizing the entire galaxy? No, this weapon must be destroyed for the good of all. As the debate raged on Earth, Admiral Isaac Hill stood on the bridge of the HMS Indomitable, barking orders to his crew. I want a strike force assembled immediately. We're going to find this weapon before anyone else does. Across the vast expanse of space, Princess Zira addressed a gathering crowd on the Nijin colony world of Axiom Prime. Her emerald eyes blazed with conviction as her words echoed through the plaza. For too long we've cowered beneath the human's boot, she proclaimed, but no more. Today we reclaim our destiny among the stars. The crowd roared its approval as Cormian and Elinari ships decloaked in orbit, joining Zira's growing fleet. Meanwhile, in the shadows of the Nagian underworld, former General Kalgath huddled with a group of hardened insurgents. Holograms displayed schematics of human military installations. Strike swiftly and without mercy, Kalgath growled. Show these human usurpers the true might of the Nigean Empire. As chaos spread across known space, Vice Admiral Zephyr's task force ventured into uncharted territory. Their sensors pinged, detecting an unusual energy signature. Unknown vessel on approach, a junior officer reported. Configuration matches no known species. Zephyr's eyes narrowed as the alien ship came into view. Its hull seemed to shimmer and shift, defying easy classification. Open a channel, Zephyr ordered. This is Vice Admiral Zephyr of the United Earth Fleet. Identify yourselves. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a being of liquid crystal and pulsing light. Its voice reverberated through the bridge, carrying an air of ancient wisdom. We are the Thalux, it intoned. You tread dangerous waters, humans. Turn back now, or face the consequences of your actions. Zephyr straightened her uniform, acutely aware that her next words could determine the fate of humanity, and perhaps the entire galaxy. The Thalux's warning hung in the air as Vice Admiral Zephyr's task force hovered at the edge of uncharted space. Before she could formulate a response, alarms blared across the bridge. Multiple ships dropping out of FTL, a sensor officer shouted. They're ours? Zephyr's eyes widened as she recognized the lead vessel. Open a channel to the Relentless. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the face of Captain Marcus Riker. His once pristine uniform was disheveled, his eyes wild with a manic gleam. Marcus, Zephyr breathed. What are you? Stand down, Zephyr, Riker growled. I'm taking control of this operation. Before Zephyr could respond, space behind Riker's fleet shimmered. A swarm of alien vessels materialized, Nigen cruisers alongside ships of unknown design. Incoming transmission, the comms officer reported. It's Princess Zira of the Nigen Empire. Zyra's face appeared on a split screen beside Riker's. Greetings, Vice Admiral. I believe we have a common goal. Zephyr's mind raced. You're working together? Riker, what have you done? What needed to be done? Riker spat. I've spent years watching incompetents like Hill climb the ranks while I was passed over. No more. With this weapon, we'll reshape the galaxy. The Thalux ship pulsed with energy. You cannot comprehend the forces you seek to control. Its crystalline voice reverberated. Leave this place, or face annihilation. Riker's lips curled into a sneer. I don't think so. He turned to someone off-screen. All ships, engage! The peaceful void erupted into chaos. Human and alien vessels alike opened fire on the Thalux ship, which shrugged off the assault with ease. It returned fire, lances of impossibly bright energy slicing through Riker's fleet. Admiral Hill, we need reinforcements, Zephyr shouted into her comm. Riker's gone rogue! Aboard the HMS Indomitable, Admiral Isaac Hill absorbed the shocking news. He turned to his XO. Set course for the Karathi Nebula, maximum speed, and get me Earth Command. As the human armada raced toward the conflict, the battle in the Karathi Nebula intensified. Ships from all factions, human, Nigean, and others Zephyr couldn't identify, poured from hyperspace. The Thalux vessel danced between them, its advanced technology making it a nearly impossible target. On the nearby planetoid housing the Thalux outpost, Ambassador Varric found herself in an unlikely alliance. She crouched behind a fallen pillar, flanked by Prince Jarek and the disgraced General Calgath. We need to reach that command center, Varric shouted over the din of battle. If Riker gets control of the weapon... An explosion rocked the ancient structure. Calgath peered around the pillar, his cybernetic eye whirring. The main chamber is just ahead, but Riker's forces are everywhere. Jarek checked his weapon. Then we fight our way through. As they advanced, the space battle above reached a fever pitch. The Indomitable burst from FTL, leading Earth's main fleet into the fray. Hill's voice crackled over the comms. All ships, focus fire on Riker's command vessel. But it was too late. A blinding light erupted from the planetoid surface, followed by a wave of energy that rippled through space. Ships caught in its path simply ceased to exist, reduced to their component atoms in an instant. On the bridge of the Relentless, Riker's face split into a triumphant grin. It works! We have control! Beside him, Princess Zira's emerald eyes glittered. Excellent work, Captain. Now, if you'll excuse me... In one fluid motion, she drew a weapon and fired. Riker's expression froze in shock as he crumpled to the deck. Zira tapped her communicator. This is Zira. The human is neutralized. Proceed with integration. Aboard the Indomitable, Hill watched in horror as a new fleet warped into the system. Ships of gleaming metal with pulsing circuitry. The Enkarians had arrived. As the AI cult's vessels joined the battle, the doomsday weapon prepared to fire again. Hill knew he had only moments to make an impossible choice that would determine the fate of biological life in the galaxy.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.